Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a loop of emotional highs and lows with someone? One day she's all about you, texting, planning, and making you feel like the center of her world. The next, radio silence. Or maybe she's sending mixed signals, keeping you wondering where you stand. Frustrating, right? You're not alone. Countless men find themselves entangled in these emotional games, unsure how to break free or take back control. Let's get one thing straight. It's not your fault that these games exist. They're as old as human interaction itself, a natural product of emotional testing and power dynamics. But here's the kicker: it is your responsibility to navigate them. And no, we're not talking about manipulation or cheap tricks. We're talking about mastering the art of self-control, of becoming a man so centered in his worth that no game can unsettle him. Popular advice might tell you to play her game better, to out-text, out-flirt, or out-scheme her. But here's the truth: real power comes from not playing her game at all. Instead, you become the game she can't win. By embracing Stoicism, you transform into a man who commands respect and exudes unshakable confidence. Imagine being the guy who, no matter what emotional whirlwind she throws your way, stays calm, composed, and in control. Sounds empowering, doesn't it? Today, we're diving into 10 powerful strategies to outsmart any woman playing games with your heart. Each one builds on the last, creating a blueprint not just for romantic success but for life. Stick around till the end, because the final strategy, it's the ultimate game changer. 1. Understand why women play games. Let's start with the most important question. Why do women play games in the first place? It's easy to jump to conclusions assuming malice or manipulation, but the truth is often more nuanced. Women play these games, ghosting, breadcrumbing, pushing and pulling, not because they're inherently cruel, but because they're testing. Testing what? Your emotional strength. Think about it. Life throws all of us curveballs. From career setbacks to personal struggles, everyone faces challenges. Women, consciously or subconsciously, want to know if you can handle pressure, if you can remain steady when things get tough. Are you the kind of man who panics, loses composure, and crumbles at the first sign of trouble? Or are you the man who stays grounded no matter what? Emotional tests can take many forms. Maybe she cancels plans last minute to see how you react. Maybe she flirts with another guy in front of you, checking if you'll lose your cool. Or maybe she simply pulls away, waiting to see if you'll chase after her. These are not necessarily acts of cruelty, they're glimpses into how you handle uncertainty and emotional discomfort. Now here's where most men falter. They start chasing harder, over-explaining themselves, or even retaliating with their own games. But each of these reactions sends a message. You can be controlled, and once she knows she can control you, respect begins to fade. It's a harsh truth, but an essential one. So what's the solution? Simple. Understand the game, but refuse to play by its rules. When you see these tests for what they are, they lose their power over you. Instead of reacting emotionally, you respond with calm confidence. Show her that no matter what she does, your value and self-worth remain intact. Imagine a scenario where she suddenly starts pulling away, becoming distant after weeks of consistent attention. Most guys would panic, sending a flurry of texts, asking what's wrong. Did I do something? But not you. You lean back, let her come to you. Your calmness signals that you're not easily shaken, that your emotional state isn't tied to her actions. And that, my friend, is where the power lies. When you master this perspective, you shift the dynamic. She'll start to see you as the calm in her storm, the man who doesn't falter under pressure. That's the kind of man who commands respect and admiration, not just in relationships, but in life. Stay tuned, because in the next section, we'll build on this foundation. We'll explore the crucial practice of prioritizing your own well-being and how it transforms your relationships from the inside out. 2. Prioritize your own well-being. Here's a truth many men overlook. The most important relationship you have is the one with yourself. Let that sink in for a moment. It's easy to get caught up in someone else's emotional roller coaster, constantly wondering what they're thinking or feeling. But when you start sacrificing your mental peace and self-respect just to keep someone around, you've already lost. Let's be honest. Have you ever found yourself walking on eggshells, trying to avoid conflict or keep her happy at the expense of your own well-being? Maybe you've canceled plans with friends, skipped the gym, or let your work suffer because you were too focused on winning her approval. It's a slippery slope, and before you know it, you're drained, stressed, and losing sight of who you are. The truth is, no one, not even the most captivating woman, is worth your peace of mind. A relationship should enhance your life, not consume it. If you constantly feel anxious or undervalued, it's a sign you're prioritizing her times over your own well-being. That's a dangerous game, and one you must stop playing. So how do you prioritize your well-being without coming across as selfish or distant? It starts with a simple shift in mindset. You come first. This doesn't mean you disregard her feelings or needs. It means you recognize that your happiness and emotional health are the foundation for any healthy relationship. If you're not in a good place mentally, how can you expect to show up as your best self for her or anyone else? Now let's break this down into actionable steps. First, take an honest inventory of your life. Are you staying physically active? Are you pursuing your passions and career goals? Are you nurturing friendships and hobbies outside of your relationship? If the answer to any of these is no, it's time to recalibrate. When you're fulfilled in these areas, you naturally become more confident and less dependent on external validation. Second, set non-negotiables for your mental health. Maybe that means dedicating an hour each day to exercise, meditation, or simply unwinding with a book. Maybe it's as simple as keeping plans with friends, even if she suddenly asks for your time. These small acts send a powerful message to both her and yourself that your well-being is a priority. Finally, learn to recognize when a relationship dynamic is harming your mental health. If she's consistently playing games, flaking on plans, sending mixed signals, or testing your patience, you have to ask yourself, is this worth my emotional energy? Often men stay in these situations out of fear of losing her, fear of being alone, fear of failure. But these fears are illusions. The moment you reclaim your power and prioritize your peace, you free yourself from the toxic cycle. Here's the irony. When you stop centering your life around her and start focusing on your growth, she'll notice. The women are naturally drawn to men who are grounded, independent, and self-assured. When she sees that you're not willing to sacrifice your well-being for her gains, her respect for you will grow. And if it doesn't, well, you've just identified someone who doesn't align with your values, and that's a win in itself. Let me paint a picture. Imagine you're dating a woman who constantly sends mixed signals. One day she's enthusiastic and affectionate, the next, she's cold and distant. Most men would scramble to fix the situation, bending over backward to win her favor. But not you. You recognize the toll it's taking on your mental health, and you decide to step back. You hit the gym, focus on your work, and spend time with friends who lift you up. Suddenly, she's the one wondering why you're not chasing her anymore. She starts texting you more, trying to get your attention. And even if she doesn't, you're too busy building your empire to care. That's the power of prioritizing your own well-being. It shifts the balance in your favor. In today's world, where men are often told to cater to others' emotions at their own expense, prioritizing yourself is not only refreshing but essential. It's a mindset that protects you from being manipulated and ensures you stay true to who you are. At this point, I want to hear from you. Have you ever found yourself sacrificing your well-being in a relationship? If so, how did it affect you? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Now buckle up, because in the next section, we're diving into the ultimate power move, knowing when to walk away. This isn't just about ending relationships, it's about mastering the art of self-respect. Stay tuned. 3. Know when to walk away. Here's a hard truth. Not every relationship is meant to last. Some people come into your life as lessons, not blessings. And one of the most powerful skills you can develop is knowing when to walk away. This is not about giving up, it's about recognizing your worth and refusing to settle for anything less. So let's get real for a moment. Have you ever stayed in a relationship that you knew deep down wasn't serving you? Maybe she constantly canceled plans, flirted with other guys in front of you, or kept you in emotional limbo. You tried to fix things to hold on, hoping she'd change. But instead of getting better, the situation just drained you. Sound familiar? Here's the truth. Staying in a toxic or unbalanced relationship doesn't make you loyal or strong, it makes you stuck. And the longer you stay, the more you chip away at your own self-respect. Walking away isn't a sign of weakness, it's the ultimate act of self-respect. It's saying, I know my worth and I won't let anyone treat me as less. But let's be clear, walking away isn't about punishing her or playing mind games. It's about making a conscious decision to prioritize your peace and well-being. When you walk away, you do it with calm confidence, not anger or bitterness. You're not storming out or issuing ultimatums. You're simply letting her know that you value yourself too much to stay in a situation that doesn't align with your standards. Imagine this scenario. You've been seeing someone for a few months. At first, things were great, but lately she's been distant, flaky, and inconsistent. You've had enough, so you calmly sit her down and say something like, I've noticed a change in how we've been connecting, and it seems like we're not on the same page. I respect you, but I also respect myself, and I think it's best if we go our separate ways. No drama, no blaming, just clarity and self-respect. What happens next? Often this move catches her off guard. Most people are used to others clinging or fighting to stay. By walking away with grace, you demonstrate a level of emotional maturity and confidence that's incredibly rare and incredibly attractive. And here's the kicker. Walking away doesn't just benefit you. It also sends a powerful message to her. It shows her that you're a man who won't tolerate being treated as an option. Many times this can be a wake-up call, prompting her to reevaluate her behavior. But whether she comes back or not is irrelevant. The victory lies in your willingness to prioritize your dignity and peace. Walking away isn't easy, especially if you still have feelings for her. But remember, staying in a situation that chips away at your self-worth will hurt far more in the long run. And once you've walked away, don't look back. Focus on yourself, your growth, your happiness. That's where true power lies. Now that we've covered the art of walking away, let's dive into the next essential strategy, setting boundaries early. This is where respect is earned and trust is built. 4. Set boundaries early. Boundaries are the invisible lines that define what you will and won't accept in a relationship. They're not about controlling the other person, they're about protecting your peace and ensuring mutual respect. Yet so many men shy away from setting boundaries because they fear it'll scare her off. Let me tell you something. A woman worth having will not only respect your boundaries, but she'll also appreciate them. Why are boundaries so important? Because they establish the foundation of a healthy, balanced relationship. Without them, you're signaling to her and to yourself that you're willing to tolerate behaviors that undermine your self-respect. And once you allow someone to cross your boundaries repeatedly, it becomes harder and harder to enforce them. So how do you set boundaries effectively? It starts with clarity. You need to know what your non-negotiables are. What behaviors or actions cross the line for you? Maybe it's constant canceling of plans, excessive flirting with other guys, or disrespecting your time and energy. Whatever it is, you have to be clear with yourself first before communicating it to her. Next, it's about communication. Let's say she has a habit of canceling plans last minute. Instead of ignoring it or getting passive-aggressive, address it calmly and directly. You might say, I've noticed you've been canceling plans a lot recently. I value consistency, and it's important to me that we respect each other's time. If you're not interested in making plans work, that's okay, but I need to know where we stand. Notice the tone. Calm, assertive, and respectful. You're not attacking or accusing her, but you're also not letting the behavior slide. This is the key to setting boundaries, standing firm without being confrontational. Now, here's the magic. When you set boundaries early and confidently, you instantly earn respect. You show her that you're a man who values himself and won't tolerate anything less than mutual respect. And trust me, that's incredibly attractive. Women are naturally drawn to men who know their worth and aren't afraid to assert it. But what if she doesn't respect your boundaries? What if she continues the same behavior despite your calm, clear communication? That's when you refer back to the previous step. You walk away. Because at the end of the day, boundaries are only as strong as your willingness to enforce them. I'll think about it. If you set a boundary but let her cross it without consequences, what message are you sending? That your words don't carry weight and your standards are negotiable. But when you stand firm and follow through, you reinforce your self-respect and hers. Setting boundaries isn't about creating walls. It's about building a framework for a healthy, respectful relationship. And the earlier you establish them, the smoother your connection will be. Stay tuned, because next we'll explore how to remain calm under pressure, a skill that will not only elevate your relationships, but also transform the way you navigate life. 5. Stay calm under pressure. Here's a scenario. You're out with her at a social gathering, and suddenly she starts talking about her ex. Maybe she's reminiscing about an amazing trip they took, or casually mentioning how he used to make her laugh. Or worse, she's openly flirting with another guy in front of you. What do? Most men would either blow up in frustration or quietly stew in jealousy, their minds racing with insecurity. But you're different. You're a stoic man, and you know that calm is power. When she throws these emotional curveballs, she's testing your composure. Can you handle it, or will you crack under the pressure? This is where you separate yourself from the crowd. Staying calm under pressure doesn't mean you're emotionless. It means you control your emotions rather than letting them control you. And that control, it's magnetic. Let's break this down. When she brings up her ex, most guys would immediately react. Why are you still thinking about him? Or I don't want to hear about your past relationships. These responses scream insecurity. Instead, you lean back and respond with something simple and unbothered, like, "That's cool. Sounds like you had some good times." No sarcasm, no bitterness, just calm. Or maybe she's chatting up another guy right in front of you. Most men would feel the urge to compete, to prove they're better. But not you. You sit back, observe, and let her see that her antics don't faze you. Your calmness makes her question why you're not reacting, and that's when the power shifts. Why does this work? Because staying calm under pressure shows emotional strength. When it tells her, "You can't shake me, I'm in control of myself," and this strength is rare. In a world where everyone's quick to react, the man who stays composed stands out. But staying calm isn't just for her benefit, it's for you. When you remain centered, you protect your peace and prevent yourself from getting dragged into unnecessary drama. You make decisions from a place of clarity rather than emotion. And that's a superpower, not just in relationships but in life. Think about how many arguments or misunderstandings could be avoided if people simply took a moment to breathe and respond calmly. Staying calm doesn't mean you ignore problems, it means you address them with clarity and control. When you master this, you'll find that conflicts become less about winning and more about resolving. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever faced a situation where staying calm completely changed the outcome? Or maybe you're working on mastering this skill and have questions about how to handle certain scenarios. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. And if this resonates with you, don't forget to hit that like button. Your engagement helps bring this message to more men who need to hear it. Let's build a community of calm, confident, and unshakable men together. Next up, we'll dive into recognizing behavioral patterns, because once you see the patterns, you can predict the games and outsmart them effortlessly. Stay with me. 6. Practice emotional detachment. Let's get one thing straight. Emotional detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're not controlled by your emotions. Most men struggle in relationships because they let their emotions dictate their actions. When she pulls away, they panic. When she's distant, they overcompensate. And when things don't go as planned, they spiral into anxiety. But here's the truth. When you let your emotions control you, you hand over your power. And women, whether consciously or subconsciously, can sense this. They'll test you to see if they can sway your mood, and if you crumble, You lose respect, not just hers, but your own. So how do you master emotional detachment? It starts with understanding that your value doesn't come from her attention or approval. You are enough with or without her. Once you internalize this, her actions, whether she's texting you every 5 minutes or ghosting you for a week, no longer dictate your emotional state. Let's say she suddenly stops replying to your messages. Most men would jump to conclusions, wondering what they did wrong, and start sending more texts in a desperate attempt to regain her attention. But not you. You recognize that her silence is just a test. Instead of reacting, you remain calm and centered. And you go about your day focusing on your goals, hobbies, and well-being. When you practice emotional detachment, you show her that your happiness isn't dependent on her. This doesn't mean you don't enjoy her company or appreciate her presence. It simply means you're not needy. And neediness is the ultimate attraction killer. Here's a powerful exercise to help you detach. Every time you feel the urge to react emotionally, pause and ask yourself, will this matter a week from now? A month? This simple question brings perspective and helps you respond rationally rather than impulsively. The beauty of emotional detachment is that it makes you unshakable. You become the calm center in any storm, and women are drawn to that kind of stability. When she sees that her actions don't control you, she'll be more intrigued and respectful. But more importantly, detachment empowers you. It frees you from the constant emotional roller coaster and allows you to stay focused on what truly matters: your growth, your goals, and your peace of mind. Now that we've built the foundation of emotional resilience, let's move to another critical skill: patience. ACD Sound. 7. Practice patience. In a world of instant gratification, patience is a superpower. And when it comes to relationships, it's often the difference between success and failure. Women will test your patience, whether by taking hours to reply to X text, canceling plans last minute, or pulling back just when things seem to be going well. How you handle these moments defines the dynamic between you. Most men struggle with patience. They want immediate clarity, validation, and resolution. If she doesn't reply quickly, they double text. If she cancels, they demand explanations. But here's the thing. Every time you rush, you're revealing your need for control and validation. And that's a sign of insecurity. Patience, on the other hand, shows confidence. It tells her, I'm not in a rush. I'm not desperate. I trust the process. And this calm, composed energy is irresistible. Let's say she pulls back after a few great dates. Most guys would start chasing harder, sending messages like, is everything okay? Or did I do something wrong? But you wait. You give her the space to come back on her own terms. And when she does, she'll respect you more for not panicking or pressuring her. Patience also extends to your long-term approach to relationships. Too often, men sabotage themselves by trying to lock things down too quickly. They push for commitment or seek constant reassurance, which can come across as needy. Instead, focus on enjoying the journey. Let the connection develop naturally without forcing outcomes. Here's a practical way to cultivate patience. Whenever you feel the urge to act impulsively, whether it's sending that extra text or demanding an explanation, pause. Take a deep breath and remind yourself good things take time. This simple practice trains your mind to embrace uncertainty and delay gratification. Patience isn't just about waiting. It's about staying composed while you wait. It's about trusting that everything will unfold as it should, without needing to control every detail. And when you embody this mindset, you'll notice something remarkable. She'll start valuing your presence more. Why? Because you're different. You're not like most men who rush and chase. You're calm, steady, and confident in your timing. In relationships and in life, patience often yields the best rewards. So the next time you're tempted to rush or react, lean into your stoic principles. Trust the process and let things unfold naturally. Stay tuned for the next section where we'll dive into recognizing behavioral patterns, because understanding her moves before she makes them gives you the ultimate edge. 8. Recognize behavioral patterns. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a cycle, experiencing the same behaviors over and over again in relationships? One day she's showering you with attention, and the next she's pulling back. Or maybe she keeps you hooked with just enough affection to maintain your interest, but never fully commits. These are patterns, and once you learn to recognize them, you gain the power to predict and respond effectively. Here's the secret: patterns reveal intent. Women, like everyone, are creatures of habit. Whether they're conscious of it or not, their actions follow a rhythm. If you pay attention, you'll start to notice these recurring behaviors, and that's when the game changes. Instead of being caught off guard, you can anticipate her moves and stay one step ahead. Take the classic hot and cold pattern, for instance. One day she's sending you texts nonstop, talking about how amazing you are and hinting at future plans. The next, she's distant, barely responding, or suddenly busy. This push-pull dynamic is designed to see if you'll chase. If you do, you're playing right into her hands. But what if you didn't? What if instead you recognize this as a test of your emotional resilience? Instead of overreacting, you stay calm and carry on with your life. You let her come to you, flipping the script entirely. Suddenly, she's the one wondering why you're not scrambling for her attention. Another common pattern is breadcrumbing. This happens when she gives you just enough attention to keep you hooked, but never enough to move the relationship forward. You might get the occasional flirty text or casual promise to hang out, but when it comes time to solidify plans, she's nowhere to be found. The key to handling breadcrumbing is simple: call it out, but without emotional investment. Say something like, "I'm not looking for half-hearted attention. If you're interested in spending time together, great. If not, that's fine too, but I'm not here to chase." This approach is powerful because it shows that you value your time and won't settle for crumbs. By identifying these behavioral patterns, you position yourself as a man who's emotionally intelligent and unshakable. You stop reacting impulsively and start responding strategically, which not only protects your peace but also makes you incredibly attractive. Remember, recognizing patterns isn't about paranoia or overanalyzing every interaction. It's about being observant and staying grounded. When you see the bigger picture, you're no longer at the mercy of her games, you're in control of your response. Now, let's move on to another crucial skill that complements pattern recognition perfectly: the art of clear and firm communication. 9. Communicate clearly and firmly. Communication is the foundation of any successful relationship, yet so many men struggle to get it right. They either avoid tough conversations entirely or approach them with too much emotion, leading to misunderstandings, arguments, or even more drama. But here's the truth: clear and firm communication is your greatest ally in any relationship. Think about it. When was the last time you addressed an issue directly without beating around the bush or letting emotions get the best of you? Most men either bottle up their frustrations or let them explode at the worst possible moment. Neither approach fosters respect or trust. A stoic man, however, handles communication differently. He speaks calmly, directly, and confidently, without letting emotions cloud his message. Let's say you've noticed she's been acting distant or inconsistent, and it's starting to affect you. Most guys would either blow up, saying something like, "Why are you ignoring me?" or suppress their feelings, hoping the situation resolves itself. But not you. You address it head on, saying something like, "I've noticed you've been acting differently lately. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'd like to know if there's something we need to talk about." Notice the tone: calm, collected, and non-accusatory. You're not demanding answers or pointing fingers. You're simply making an observation and inviting her to share her perspective. This approach disarms her because it comes from a place of confidence, not insecurity. Now let's take it a step further. Suppose you've already set a boundary, but she keeps crossing it. How do you reinforce it without escalating the situation? You calmly restate your position. For example, we've talked about this before, and I need to stick to what I said. I'm not okay with specific behavior. Again, the key is firmness without aggression. You're not raising your voice or making threats. You're simply reaffirming your standards. And here's the magic: when you communicate this way, you earn respect. as she'll see that you're a man who knows what he wants and isn't afraid to articulate it. But what if she reacts negatively? What if she accuses you of being too controlling or distant? This is where emotional detachment and patience come into play. You don't take the bait. Instead, you calmly reiterate your stance and let her decide how to respond. Whether she respects your boundaries or not is ultimately her choice, but your ability to communicate clearly and stand by your principles remains your power. In today's world, where many conversations are riddled with passive aggressiveness and emotional outbursts, clear communication is a rare and valuable skill. It not only helps you navigate relationships more effectively, but also strengthens your overall presence. Up next, we'll dive into the final piece of the puzzle, knowing when and how to act decisively when the time comes. Stay tuned, because this is where everything comes together. 10. Choose when to act decisively. Now we arrive at the culmination of everything we've discussed, the ability to act decisively when the moment calls for it. Knowing when to take action and when to hold back is a hallmark of true confidence. It's not about being reactive, it's about making calculated, intentional moves that align with your values and goals. Here's the truth. Not every situation requires your immediate response. Sometimes the best action is no action at all, waiting, observing, and letting things unfold naturally. But when the time comes to make a move, whether it's setting a boundary, walking away, or deepening your commitment, you must do so with conviction. Imagine this. You've been seeing someone for a while, but her behavior is increasingly inconsistent. You've tried communicating, you've set boundaries, and yet the same patterns persist. At this point, you face a choice. Stay and tolerate behavior that undermines your self-respect, or walk away with your head held high. Many men hesitate in moments like this, paralyzed by fear of losing her, fear of being alone, fear of making the wrong decision. But indecision is a decision in itself, and it rarely leads to growth or empowerment. A stoic man understands that decisive action, even when it's difficult, is a necessary part of maintaining his integrity. When you choose to act decisively, you send a powerful message. I know my worth, and I won't compromise it for anyone. This isn't about ultimatums or manipulation. It's about being true to yourself. Whether she respects your decision or not is secondary. The primary victory lies in your willingness to prioritize your peace and principles. Let's break this down further. If she's playing games, constantly testing your limits, and you've reached a point where it's affecting your mental and emotional health, walking away might be the best course of action. And when you do, you don't do it with anger or resentment. You simply say, I respect you, but this dynamic isn't working for me. I think it's best if we both move on. No drama, no blame, just calm, collected confidence. Here's the beauty of this approach. More often than not, walking away with dignity and self-respect shifts the power dynamic. She'll realize she can't manipulate or control you, and that realization often sparks a newfound respect. But whether she comes back or not is irrelevant. The true power lies in your ability to act decisively and stick to your principles. This decisiveness doesn't just apply to walking away. It's equally crucial in positive moments, like when you've determined she's someone who aligns with your values and you decide to take the relationship to the next level. In these moments, acting with clarity and intention shows her you're serious and confident in your choices. The key is to ensure that every action you take comes from a place of strength, not insecurity. When you move forward in life and relationships with decisiveness, you create a foundation of trust and respect. People, including women, are drawn to those who are sure of themselves and their direction. So, take a moment to reflect. Where in your life or relationships could you benefit from more decisive action? Are there boundaries you've let slide? Patterns you've ignored? Decisions you've delayed? The time to act is now, with calm confidence and a clear sense of purpose. Congratulations, you've just unlocked 10 powerful strategies to outsmart any woman playing games with your heart. But remember, this journey isn't just about mastering these techniques, it's about becoming the best version of yourself. When you embrace these principles grounded in Stoicism, you transform not only your relationships but every aspect of your life. So now I want to hear from you. Which of these strategies resonated with you the most? Have you faced situations where these principles could have made a difference? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. I'm genuinely interested in your journey. And if you found this guide valuable, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue bringing this life-changing content to more men who need it. Also, share this with someone you know who could benefit from these insights. Let's build a community of strong, confident men who refuse to be played and are committed to personal growth. Thank you for spending your time here today, and remember, your worth isn't dictated by anyone else. Stay calm, stay confident, and keep growing. Until next time, take care and keep mastering your life.